Key lessons from building a Filipino offshore team from the US. Welcome to Talent Talks, your go to podcast for insights into global recruitment and the power of finding the right talent brought to you by More Staffing. Whether you're an entrepreneur, an HR expert, or just keen on personal and professional growth, we're here to share valuable insights and stories. Let's start from the beginning. Welcome, AC. And I would like to take this opportunity to first of all give my sincere gratitude for starting everything. You are the first person who gave us the opportunity, and that's why we are here in this podcast. We have more staffing, we have different brands right now, and it's all started because of you. And I would like to take this opportunity to share with our listeners and ask you how did you started with it and what inspired you and gave you the opportunity to also provide these positions and work to our other Filipino talents that we have.
Uh,
And let's start and begin with the hiring process from the Philippines. How did the hiring process from the Philippines start?
yes. Well, first of all, thank you. Thank you for your gratitude. I'm accepting it. And your question about how did it all start? So it all started when I became the department head for exports operations at Singularity. I was given a budget and it was just enough to hire one person here in the US. So I thought more. If I hire here in the US, I only get one personnel. But if I hire from the Philippines, I would have the opportunity to have 3 to 4 people working with us. So why not consider? Good thing my manager at the time supported my decision to do offshore.
That's super great to hear that you're supported. But why specifically did you choose Philippines for your offshore team?
Well, there were several reasons, but first and foremost, I'm a Filipina, born and raised from the Philippines. So I've known people there who I can tap for the level of work that we were aiming to accomplish. Not to mention the high level of English proficiency in the country was a significant factor. Number two, the cultural alignment with the Western business practices made communication and collaboration smoother. And lastly, the time difference. The time difference was very manageable, allowing for real time collaboration and overlapping work hours.
So this is one fun fact about our working together. We started remote even before pandemic. So
Yes.
it's most like a lot of companies have transitioned to in person to remote because of the situation pandemic. But for us, we started years before that. And how was your experience with that? What was it like to grow a team of virtual professionals pre-pandemic? Not to note that we also did not have all the tools that we have right now at present, 2017, 2018.
Absolutely. So, work from home wasn't mainstream yet. So, it was an interesting challenge to face then. 2018, I remember we grew from 4 to 20 people. I definitely set aside coaching, training, and development.
For dealing with new members. So going back, you have your first team, which is me, Jelly, and Jello. And then we expanded from that 3 members to more and more members. What were your main strategy in making sure that the quality of work is going to be the same, even though we are increasing in number of headcount? As I'm asking this because this is the common challenges of our clients. When they hire one person, one talent from us, it's smooth. When they continue growing, they would hire more and more, but that's when the challenges comes in.
Yes, it's not easy, especially if you are a flat organization, but maintaining a culture is one of the top priorities as long as you know that you have a really good work culture in your team. At that time, we made sure that we integrate our core values in every aspect of our remote operations. And how we dealt with it were virtual team building activities,
Mm.
regular all hands meetings, and open communication channels to ensure that everyone felt included and valued regardless of their location. I can remember too is that Even if there were mistakes done, we wanted to be open to it. If there are wins, we are open to it. And it's really radical transparency and radical communication for you to be able to maintain such culture of openness and integrity for remote
Mhm.
operations.
I can remember we did both ways of some members visiting the office in the US, and you also coming back to Manila to meet the whole team. I remember specifically we had that event wherein we did a beach activity with the whole team, and I think that's something that has been really helpful. As you've mentioned, it's a different challenge back then how to manage offshore team and maintain the culture.
Yeah.
And it's also have been really helpful regarding, as you've mentioned, the all hands meetings that we've done before. I remember mentioning this in the previous episodes that although we have experience in a corporate work, it's totally different working with different culture, different time zones, and the work is new and you're communicating with experts. So it's more of like getting the guidance from you, what works best in the culture in the US that we should stop doing because it's not going to be applicable or helpful. That's something that we knew, we learned from the beginning, and that's why we know that we were able to adjust in a very quick time because of that consistent all hands meeting. And those are very excellent, great strategies that you've created. If we are going to delve a little bit deeper, how did you handle communication and time zone differences effectively?
So, as mentioned, right, radical transparency and then really communication is the key. At that time, we were 24/7 in our production, and people were on 8-hour shifts with 2 to 3 hours overlap. And we had to make sure that we are supporting programs from all time zones. So the team was covering all hours. The key really was robust monitoring sheets. It's just like what you're doing, even though there was a joke that if you got hit by the bus, will we know what you're doing? It's just that if you suddenly decided not to work with us tomorrow, what would be your ways for you to make sure that the other team members know what you're working on? So, really ensuring that monitoring sheets were updated in a timely manner. We definitely have before the beginning of the shift and in the end of the shift, what has happened and what will happen. And there's always this recurring follow ups and follow throughs on what needs to be done. So, radical transparency and communication.
And it's so helpful, aside from the template that you've created for us to update. We've already been doing project management Asana at that time. It's not even widely used 2018, but
Mm-hmm.
we are already tagging each other. The work asynchronously is very effective. That as the joke hit by a bus. If we want to make sure that our work is going to be catched or continued, even if you're sleeping, and that's actually the best scenario in our team is whenever US team is it's nighttime sleeping, we are continuously working. There's a 24/7 support with our experts, and there's no wasted time in the operation side. And
Yeah.
what about performance management? How did you ensure that your remote team remained productive and engaged, especially if this is like there's no playbook on how to handle remote team members at the time, and you started it even before pandemic?
So, definitely implementing a clear performance metrics and regular team feedback. Transparency helped in setting expectations and provided team members with the necessary support and motivation to achieve their learnings. And most especially, we did a lot of coaching, not only in how you are in work, but how you are showing up to the world. So, definitely coaching helped a lot.
And just to give you a little bit of background, since I am handling all the discovery calls with our clients when they're trying to hire someone from the Philippines, I would say that a lot of clients, this is their first time hiring an offshore team member. So sometimes they are the only member or the only talent working for their company. They are the founders, they are the CEOs, and as they grow, they're needing support. And sometimes they have internal team members from the US, and so this is a huge job for them to try, especially hiring managers and leaders from the Philippines because they know that they can get support, virtual assistants, executive assistants. But these are leaders and managers that we're talking about in hiring. So given this, what's your advice with our listeners who are considering building an offshore team in the Philippines or elsewhere?
Yes, it's crucial to understand that cultural and operational dynamics of the country you're considering. You really have to invest in building relationships with your offshore team just as you would with your onshore team. And always prioritize communication and cultural integration to ensure a cohesive and productive work environment.
And then thank you for sharing that. Is there a lesson that you would like to share to our listeners? Whether it's a mistake that we've learned from the past or it worked but can be improved at this point at present. Do you have any advices that you can give more to our listeners when hiring remote?
You know, when hiring remote, there is the way of asking questions that I remember it's just like whenever I ask my teammates whenever asking questions like, here's my question, here's why I'm asking my question, here's my answer, are we aligned? That way, you are seeing how your team members from wherever they are, may it be offshore or onshore, it's like how they're thinking. You see their ability to comprehend with you and to troubleshoot with you. So it's just like, here's my question, here's why I'm asking my question, here's my answer, are we aligned? So this is a good way even of managing up and managing down.
It's so funny just to share with you that until now I am using this format. When I am like answering or asking for approval, I would include the statement of the problem. Why is this being a challenge right now? What are the options, my recommendations, and what are solutions moving forward? And the goal is I always tell my team members that in one reading, in one message, I hope that the one that you're asking for approval or your management or your co talents are already understanding the whole picture. And so it's easy to answer yes, no. It's a huge effective strategy just for the person who's reading your message that they could answer right away. And sometimes we have the screenshot, we copy the link. It's a one message with complete information, so it's very easy to communicate. And that's
Absolutely.
I could attest to that as what you've mentioned until now. Fast forward to 5 years from that working together, we are still doing that and has been very helpful with our clients. So
Has it been
um,
really 5 years or 7 years?
oh yeah, including our working together with human nature. That's that's been a long. It's actually a decade of working together remotely since you've been in the US, but for specifically for this client, it has been 7 years.
Yeah.
And thank you, AC, for sharing that. I know that there are lots of valuable insights that you can share to our clients or business owners who are looking to expand their team offshore. What's good in our I hope that we can in the future podcast recordings that we're going to do, there will be more insights on how they can make sure that the process is smooth, like onboarding, training, coaching, if we can deep dive on that next time. And
Thank
great
you.
discussing these experiences, and I hope they can help others looking to explore similar ventures. And to our listeners, thank you for tuning in. We hope you found this conversation as informative, inspiring as we did. Join us next time for more insightful discussions. Have a great day. Thank you,
Thank
AC.
you.